Experience Karen Hunter
in a completely different way.
Karen Hunter is awesome. The podcast.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're gonna love me. And Karen Hunter is awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of the Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power. A 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. Check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You will not be disappointed.
Kendrick Lamar's bell-bottom jeans from the Super Bowl halftime show are dividing the internet. Some people love them. Some people are saying they were too long, he's too short, whatever. Everybody has an opinion. What I don't see people talking about is the history and the symbolism of bell-bottom jeans and how this may have been a very intentional creative choice for this performance. Bell-bottoms were originally a military style. Here are Navy sailors from the 1800s wearing their bell-bottoms. These had a purpose. They were easier to take off in the water. They were easier to roll up in case they had to go into water. So these weren't like a fashion choice. These were utilitarian. In the mid-60s, military style became mainstream as a way to protest the Vietnam War. People were wearing bell-bottom jeans in America to express their discontent with politics, with the government, and with the way that society was heading. Bell-bottoms symbolized freedom, self-expression, counterculture, rebellion. This era was marked by activism, the women's rights movement, the civil rights movement, the anti-war movement, the Black Power movement. All of these movements were happening in the 60s. Even though bell-bottoms have fallen in and out of style over the years, they do have this historical association with speaking out against injustice and with activism. This show was a political statement, and Kendrick performed this show in front of the President of the United States. So I think these jeans may have been an intentional part of the creative narrative. In case you're wondering, the brand he wore, Celine. So if you want to go spend $1,200 on a pair of jeans, I mean, it's your money, not mine.
Yeah, man, we're not doing that. And they're not Black owned. So that's not happening. But the fact that people are delving into this damn halftime, the more watched than Michael Jackson. But yeah. Michael Jackson was watched when we had fewer people. So I'm still going to say that he beat that out. But Amber Cabral is here. You know, a little fashion. You were in the fashion industry for a minute. The bell bottoms, I didn't know that it was a form of protest. So I'm glad that I learned some of that through this TikTok. Thoughts and prayers.
So I did know that bell bottoms were, I mean, think back to like the Black Panther. Like you know, bell bottoms were definitely a sign of the times, but I did know that it was a military thing. I had not put together though until I saw this clip that you played. I actually didn't put it together as a potential act of protest, you know, along with the rest of the show. So I was very,
of course,
very, very impressed. I mean, there were a lot of yummy, fantastic little takeaways and nuggets. Like, it's worth rewatching if you only watched it once.
Yeah, I didn't realize about the game situation. And we broke it down the first day, but every day there's more and more. But it just tells you how much time this man put into this 12, 13-minute performance to make sure from Uncle Sam all the way through the flat. I mean, the colors, his homies, the buttons on the shirt. I mean, for him to come up with all of this is the work that we must put into the things that we do. And if you're not putting in work like this, you can't never be great. That's how I'm like, that's great.
Yeah, it was a Black woman that was the creative director for his show. So, you know, her name is escaping me right now, but she has done this kind of putting together for shows in the past. And so, and then there was the woman who actually did the game portion, the setting up to make that happen. She's also been a part of building sets for Super Bowls as well in the past. So like, this was very well thought out, intentional, calculated. Like, I thought it was fantastic. There was so much art to it. There were a lot of elements that you can't even find on the replay. Like, the replays don't show the words that were happening in the crowd. Like, there was wrong way, there was game over, there was, you don't see that on the replays. But it was, I think it was fantastic. I think it was well thought out. It was intentional. It gave us something to think about and talk about. It encouraged us to have more dialogue that makes us dig into, the history of things like jeans, or dig into the history of, the flag, and like what the symbolism of, the Black men being humped up, hugging each other over on their backs. Like, there was just so much to to your point about earlier, like we aren't necessarily reading like we should. This felt like incentive to go looking for something. Like, let's go read more. Let's go dig into. Let's get the information, and I love that.
And none of this would be possible if Kendrick Lamar was not a wordsmith who studied and read and excelled in literature and poetry and doing things that some people would call corny or nerdy or what have you. If you know, but this is the culmination of that work that the quiet study that he did as a young person that set him aside. Speaking of that, we've been doing a word of the day here. Yesterday's word was cosseted. Because our president is cosseted, and that's COSSETTED, because, you know, and the word on Tuesday was inure, or inured, INURE or ED, if you're going to do what I did with it. And today's word is inexorable. Inexorable. I love this word. I posted something about Fannie Lou Hamer, and I said, she's inexorable. Like, she is unmoved. She is somebody that is going to not stop. She said, if I fall forward 5 feet 4 inches, that's 5 feet 4 inches towards the fight. Like, she is, I'm not playing. She's inexorable. Yeah. INEXORABLE. And I'm doing this because a teacher challenged us to know as adults 100 words. But I'm like, we could do 365. That's one of my words. I'm going to add in. And then we keep going with it. But more importantly, the more we know words, the more we can use them as the weapons that they are. The mighty weapons that they are to express ourselves.
Introducing a new podcast. Karen Hunter is awesome.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're going to love me. And Karen Hunter is awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of The Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power. A 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. So check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You will not be disappointed.
Karen Hunter is awesome. A new podcast from Karen Hunter.